All right, so have you heard about this MelodyBox AI? It's like this software everyone's talking about, saying it can like totally change how we make music.
Yeah, it's definitely causing a stir. You've got these articles hyping it up as the next big thing. Users are sharing all these crazy success stories. And then there's all these questions about, what it can actually do and how it's going to impact the music industry.
So, like, from what I've been seeing, this MelodyBox AI is claiming it can write, rap, sing, produce entire songs, even do voiceovers all in like seconds. It even says it handles the mixing and mastering. Is that even like remotely possible?
Well, technology is moving so fast these days. What we're seeing with MelodyBox AI is how they're using artificial intelligence to do all this stuff that used to require like serious human skill and expertise.
Okay, so it's like having a whole music studio like crammed into your computer.
Exactly. Think of it as a digital toolbox filled with all these algorithms that can generate lyrics, compose melodies, create beats, and even synthesize vocals. All you have to do is give it some keywords or a basic concept, and it takes it from there.
That's wild. But okay, let's talk about those user testimonials. Some of those stories are like unbelievable. People are saying they're making bank with this software. Are those claims legit?
Well, the sources definitely present some pretty compelling anecdotes. Like, there's this story about Sam who says he's making hundreds of dollars a day selling music he created with MelodyBox AI on sites like Fiverr.
Wow, hundreds a day. That's amazing. But like, if it's really that easy, why isn't everyone doing it? And are there any downsides they're not talking about?
That's the thing, right? The sources mainly focus on the positive side, how easy it is to use, and the potential for profit. But we really need to consider the legal and ethical stuff too. Like one source briefly mentions copyright issues. If the AI is trained on existing music, who owns the rights to the new tracks it creates?
Well, that's a good point. And what about like the human musicians? Could this technology like put real artists and producers out of work?
Yeah, these are the big questions, and the sources don't really go into too much detail about those potential drawbacks. It's super important to look at both the good and the bad with tech like this, the benefits and the risks.
Absolutely. So let's get into like the nitty-gritty of MelodyBox AI. The sources mention it can create different music genres, different languages, and even different audio formats. Can you tell me more about that?
One source emphasizes how versatile the software is. It can produce music in tons of genres, like pop, hip hop, even classical and jazz. They specifically say you can like tweak the AI's output to match specific moods or styles too.
That's pretty impressive. And what about languages? Can it really create lyrics and vocals in different languages?
The sources say that MelodyBox AI is built to break down language barriers, which means users can create music for a global audience. They list a bunch of languages like English, Japanese, Spanish, Hindi, French, but they suggest it can do even more than that.
That's mind-blowing. Imagine creating a K-pop hit in Korean without even speaking Korean. But okay, going back to those user testimonials, that story about Sam making a killing on Fiverr is really interesting. Can you tell me all about how he's using MelodyBox AI to, actually make money?
So the source explains that Sam had zero experience in music production before this. He created a gate on Fiverr offering custom songs and voiceovers, but he's using MelodyBox AI to create them. Clients give him a theme or some keywords, and he uses the software to produce the final product.
So he's basically like a middleman between the AI and the client. That's a pretty cool business model, especially if it's as profitable as they say. What about that other user they mentioned, Monica? Didn't she go viral on TikTok using music created with AI?
Yeah, the source says that Monica used MelodyBox AI to create like these catchy sounds and songs that took off on TikTok and YouTube. They talk about how her first AI-generated song blew up overnight after she paired it with a fun video, and that's led to opportunities for her to make money through different platforms.
So it's like she cracked the code for viral content using AI. It's crazy. But we have to remember these are just two examples, and the sources don't really give us any proof that everyone's going to have the same success.
That's right. We always have to be a bit skeptical. Individual results will probably be different, and there's no guarantee that anyone will be successful financially or otherwise just from using this software.
Okay, so we've covered the basics of MelodyBox AI, what it claims to do, those crazy user stories, and some of the big questions about copyright and how it could affect the music industry. What's next?
Now we need to take a deeper look at this whole AI-generated music thing. What are the legal and ethical issues? How could this technology change the creative landscape? And maybe the biggest question, what does this all mean for the future of music itself?
So welcome back. We're still digging into this whole AI-generated music thing and trying to get to the bottom of some of the bigger issues around MelodyBox AI.
Yeah, picking up where we left off, I think we really need to get into the legal and ethical side of things. This tech brings up so many questions about authorship, ownership, even like what creativity even means anymore.
Right. We talked a little about copyright earlier, but it's like if this MelodyBox AI is learning from a massive library of music that already exists, How can we be sure that the new songs it makes aren't ripping off someone else's work?
That's a tough one. It's a really gray area legally, and they're still fighting it out in the courts. Some people are saying that anything an AI creates should be seen as like a derivative work, building on stuff that's already copyrighted. But if that's the case, who owns the rights to the AI-generated song? Is it the person who told the AI to make it, the developers who made the software? Or, like, what if it's the AI itself that owns it?
Whoa, that's crazy. Imagine if, like, an AI made a song that sounded exactly like a Beatles song. Who would own the copyright? I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a total head scratcher, both legally and philosophically. It's making us rethink this whole idea of intellectual property. Like how do our old rules even apply in this AI
It's
world?
like we need a whole new rule book for this, like AI art revolution or something. But okay, let's change gears a bit. What about the impact on actual human musicians? Some people are freaking out thinking AI is going to steal their jobs and like kill human creativity. Is that a real concern?
It's complicated. I mean, there's definitely potential for things to be disrupted. If anyone can make professional sounding music just by clicking a few buttons, what happens to the musicians who have spent years and years learning their craft?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Will musicians like become obsolete? Is that where this is heading?
Well, it's possible that some jobs, especially those involving repetitive tasks, might be automated or, changed in a big way. Like, think about those session musicians who get hired to play certain instruments on recordings. If AI can do that perfectly, the need for human musicians in those roles might just, like, disappear.
So it's not necessarily that all musicians will be out of work, but like the type of work they do might change.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that AI isn't all about replacing humans. It can also be a tool to collaborate and like enhance what humans can do. Imagine AI helping a songwriter get over writer's block by suggesting melodies or lyrics, or a producer using AI to make a recording sound even better.
Also, it could be more about humans and AI working together to create something new and cool.
Exactly. AI can handle the more technical stuff, the repetitive stuff, and that frees up human artists to focus on the vision, the emotion, the things that really make music connect with people.
I like that. That makes sense. It's not like us versus the machines, but more like a partnership using the best of both worlds. But okay, even if AI makes it easier to create music, there's still that question of like artistic integrity. Can a machine really create art that moves us, that speaks to our soul?
That's a question that'll keep philosophers and artists debating for a long time, I think. Some people believe that art absolutely needs human consciousness, intention, emotion, things that AI, at least for now, doesn't have.
But what if AI gets so advanced that it can fake those things? What if it can make music that makes people feel real emotions, even if the AI itself doesn't feel anything?
Whoa, now that opens up a whole other can of worms. It makes you think about, like, what is art really, and what does it even mean to be conscious?
That's deep. It makes you question everything we think we know about, like being an artist and experiencing art.
Exactly. And that's why we need to keep having these conversations, We need to think critically about how AI is changing our relationship with art and creativity. These aren't just conversations for artists and tech people. This is something we all need to be thinking about.
Yeah, it feels like we all have a responsibility to shape the future of music so that it benefits both humanity and, like, art itself.
Absolutely. We have to be aware of the potential risks, but also the incredible possibilities that AI brings to the table. We can't ignore these issues. We have to face them head on.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about the big picture, like the philosophical stuff, but let's get practical for a second. What are some specific things that people using tools like MelodyBox AI should be aware of?
Well, one big one is that copyright issue we talked about. People need to be careful about using AI-generated music commercially, especially if it's based on copyrighted material. The laws are still changing, so it's really important to stay updated and know what the best practices are.
So it's not just about ethics. There could be real legal problems, too. What else, like practically speaking, should people keep in mind?
Another thing to consider is the potential for bias in AI-generated music. If the AI learned from a data set that's mostly Western music or like just pop music, it might have trouble creating music in other styles or genres. The AI can only be as good as the data it's trained on, right?
That makes sense. We have to pay attention to the data that's being used to teach these AI systems and make sure it's diverse and representative. What about the ethical side of using AI-generated music? Are there concerns about like authenticity and being transparent?
Those are good questions. Should artists be upfront about using AI in their music? Should there be some kind of label or disclosure? The music industry is still trying to figure all that out.
It sounds like there's a lot of work to be done, like we need to come up with ethical guidelines and industry standards for using AI in music.
It's a whole new world, and we're all learning as we go. But the important thing is to keep talking about it, thinking critically, and being open to change as the technology develops.
Totally agree. This has been like a really thought-provoking conversation, and honestly, we've just scratched the surface of this whole topic.
Yeah, we've explored the potential benefits and challenges, the legal and ethical stuff, and even some pretty deep philosophical questions. It's a lot to take in.
It is, but I think the main takeaway is that AI isn't going to replace human creativity. It's more like a tool that can make us more creative, enhance what we already do, and open up new possibilities.
I like that. It's up to us to decide how we use this technology to shape the future of music.
Exactly, and it's a responsibility we need to take seriously. All right, so welcome back to the deep dive. In the last two parts, we've been like really digging into this whole AI-generated music scene, especially with that MelodyBox AI software, and like what it means for music in general.
We've definitely gone deep. We've talked about copyright, what it could mean for human musicians, and even like that big question of whether a machine can really make art. Pretty heavy stuff.
For sure. But for this last part, I kind of want to zoom out a little and look at the bigger picture. Like, how is AI changing the whole music industry? MelodyBox is just one example, right? There's got to be more going on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. AI is transforming the music world in so many ways. It's not just about replacing the old ways of doing things. It's like it's giving humans new powers and opening up all these creative doors we can even imagine before.
Okay, so let's break it down. We've already talked about AI and songwriting and composing, but what about like the actual production side of things? How is AI changing the game for producers and sound engineers?
Think about all the stuff producers do, right? Mixing, mastering, creating sound effects, all that. AI is now being used to like automate and improve a lot of those processes. Like there are AI powered tools now that can analyze a track and tell you how to make it sound clear, more balanced, just better overall.
So it's like having a virtual assistant who's also like a super experienced audio engineer.
Exactly. And it's not just about making things easier, it's also about creativity. Some producers are using AI to make totally new sounds, like textures and instruments that have never been heard before.
Whoa, so AI isn't just costing what already exists, it's actually expanding what's possible in music. That's pretty awesome.
Exactly. AI can help producers create soundscapes and like whole sonic experiences that we couldn't have even dreamed of before.
That's mind-blowing. Okay, so we've covered songwriting, composing, production. What about the business side of music? How's AI impacting marketing and how music gets out there?
Oh, AI is playing a huge role in how music is discovered, promoted, and listened to. Streaming platforms are using AI algorithms to like recommend music to you based on what you like, analyze what people are listening to, and even predict what songs are going to be hits.
That explains why, like, my Spotify playlist always seems to know exactly what I'm in the mood for. It's a little creepy, but I gotta admit, the recommendations are usually pretty good.
It's all about data. AI can look at tons of data about listening habits, preferences, what people are talking about on social media, and use that to give people a really personalized listening experience.
So it's like having a personal DJ who knows your taste in music better than you do. But is there a downside to this? Like, could this lead to a music world where everything is controlled by algorithms and data?
That's a legitimate concern for sure. There's a risk that the creative process could become too focused on data, and we might end up with less variety in music if algorithms are the ones deciding what gets heard and promoted. But on the other hand, some people argue that AI could actually help level the playing field for independent artists who don't have the same access to traditional marketing.
It's like a double-edged sword then, right? AI could either limit or expand creative opportunities depending on how it's used.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance between human creativity and using technology in a smart way.
Okay, so we've talked about production, marketing, and even the philosophical side of AI-generated music, but you mentioned earlier that AI is being used in live performance too. I don't even know how that's possible.
Oh yeah, AI is finding its way onto the stage in some really cool ways. Some artists are using AI to create like these interactive visuals that respond to their music live, making the performance super immersive and engaging.
So it's like the lights and visuals are synced up with the music, and it's all happening in real time. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's a total sensory experience. And then there are things like AI-powered virtual musicians, basically computer-generated characters that can perform on stage with real musicians.
Whoa, like a hologram band or something. That's straight out of sci-fi.
It is pretty wild, and it really makes you think about what a performance even is and how audiences connect with it. Like, can a virtual musician make you feel the same way a real musician does? Can we connect with something digital in the same way we connect with a human being?
Those are some deep questions that we'll have to think about more as AI becomes a bigger part of live music.
Totally. And it's not just about the tech itself, it's about how we as humans choose to use it and make it part of our creative expression.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. We've covered so much ground, from MelodyBox AI to the big picture of how AI is changing everything about music, from production to marketing to live shows.
And that's just scratching the surface. The world of AI and music is huge, and it's changing all the time.
It's exciting and a little scary at the same time, all these possibilities, but also all these things we don't know yet.
For sure. But the most important thing to remember is that AI isn't going to replace human creativity. It's more like a tool that can help us be even more creative, you know? It can make what we already do even better and open up whole new ways of making music.
I totally agree. In the end, it's up to us humans to decide how we use this technology to shape the future of music.
Well said. We have the power to guide how AI is used in music so that it benefits both the artists and the people listening.
It's a big responsibility, and we can't take it lightly. So on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of AI and music.
It's been a wild ride. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to the Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a whole new topic. Until then, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.